What happens when the ocean's apex predators strike without warning? These harrowing tales reveal the thin line between breathtaking beauty and bone-chilling terror beneath the waves. From freedivers to surfers, even seasoned adventurers face unimaginable horror when sharks attack. Whether it's a moment of carelessness, a malfunction, or simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time, these stories show how the sea can turn from serene to savage in seconds. Brace yourself for 6 tragic encounters where the ocean's predators claim their next victims. Stories that will make you think twice before venturing into the deep. It was the early morning of May 6, 2024, and the light was just beginning to filter through the clouds over False Bay, casting a golden glow on the waves. The 32-year-old marine photographer Luna Brooks had always felt most at home beneath the ocean's surface. Raised in Cape Town, South Africa, Luna's fascination with marine life started as a child exploring tide pools along the shoreline. Over the years, her passion turned into a career, and she became one of the most sought-after free divers in the region. Known for her striking underwater images, she often braved dangerous waters to capture moments few others dared to. That morning, Luna prepared for another expedition to photograph the seals that thrived near Seal Island. This location was notorious for being a hunting ground for great white sharks, but Luna had never let fear dictate her actions. She believed that understanding marine predators was key to coexisting with them. She checked her equipment meticulously, ensuring her underwater camera was functional. Slipping into her wetsuit, she dove into the cold, clear waters, her movements fluid and practiced. Underwater, Luna was in her element. She easily swam, weaving through the shoals of fish and keeping a respectful distance from the seals, lounging on rocky outcrops. Her camera clicked incessantly as she captured the playful creatures darting through the water. The images were exactly what she had envisioned, a breathtaking blend of motion and light, showcasing the beauty of marine life in its natural habitat. Yet Luna was so focused on her craft that she failed to notice the subtle change in the seals' behavior. They began to scatter, their usual boldness replaced by frantic, erratic movements. Suddenly, a shadow loomed beneath her. Unbeknownst to Luna, she had ventured into the hunting ground of a massive great white shark. The shark, an apex predator, had been drawn to the area by the seal's activity. As Luna hovered mid-water, scanning her surroundings for her next shot, the shark made its move. It surged upward with terrifying speed, aiming for its unsuspecting prey. The attack was brutal and instantaneous. The shark struck Luna from below, its serrated teeth sinking deep into her leg. The force of the impact sent her spinning, her camera slipping from her hands as pain shot through her body. Luna's instincts kicked in and she fought back, aiming strikes at the shark's gills with whatever strength she could muster. The water churned violently, a mix of thrashing limbs and crimson streaks clouding the once clear ocean. But Luna was no match for the massive predator. The shark delivered a second devastating bite that severed her torso, releasing a cloud of blood into the water. Her struggles ceased as the predator dragged her deeper into the abyss, vanishing into the shadows of the sea. Above the water, a nearby boat crew, alerted by the seal's unusual behavior, raced toward the scene. They arrived minutes later, finding only her floating camera and a few pieces of torn diving equipment amid the blood-streaked waves. Luna's body was gone, claimed entirely by the ocean she loved so dearly. Her haunting final moments, immortalized in the recovered footage, would later serve as both a chilling reminder of the ocean's unpredictability and a tribute to a woman who had dedicated her life to capturing its beauty. The tragedy sent shockwaves through the global diving and conservation community, highlighting the delicate balance between humans and the wild predators they sought to understand. The boat crew, still processing the scene before them, worked swiftly to recover whatever they could from the water. They retrieved Luna's camera, torn wetsuit fragments, and other floating equipment. As they searched the area, their efforts were met with a grim realization. The ocean had taken her, leaving only traces of the violent encounter. Shaken and sad, they contacted the local authorities, reporting the incident and marking the coordinates of the attack for further investigation. Word of Luna's tragic death spread quickly. By the next day, news outlets were flooded with reports of the fatal shark attack in False Bay. Marine biologists and shark experts were called in to analyze the situation, examining the footage recovered from Luna's camera. Her final images provided a chilling narrative of the events leading up to the attack. The frantic behavior of the seals in the photographs served as an eerie foreshadowing of the lurking predator. The footage also reignited debates within the diving community about safety in waters known for shark activity. Many argued that Luna's death was a stark reminder of the risks of entering such territories without adequate precautions. Critics pointed out that while her work was admirable, her decision to edge closer to the seals despite the inherent dangers had placed her directly in harm's way. Luna's family, devastated by the loss, expressed their sorrow and pride in her passion. They spoke of her love for the ocean and her lifelong mission to capture its wonders. Her colleagues, friends, and fellow divers organized memorial dives in her honor, leaving floral wreaths on the surface of False Bay and sharing stories of her adventurous spirit. The global photography and marine conservation community mourned deeply, recognizing the void left by her absence. Marine conservationists used the tragedy to shed light on the behavior of great white sharks, emphasizing that such incidents were rarely acts of malice but rather instinct. They explained how the seal's presence likely triggered the shark's attack, which signaled the area as a feeding ground. Efforts were made to educate the public on safely interacting with marine environments, ensuring that Luna's story would be a learning opportunity for others. False Bay, already known for its shark activity, faced increased scrutiny following the attack. Local authorities and tourism operators reviewed safety measures, implementing stricter guidelines for divers and photographers. Warning signs and mandatory visitor briefings became commonplace, aiming to prevent further tragedies. Additionally, a renewed emphasis was placed on respecting the natural habitats of apex predators, highlighting the need for coexistence between humans and marine life. Luna's work lived on through her photographs, gaining even more posthumously recognition. Her final project, incomplete but breathtaking, was showcased in an exhibit dedicated to her memory. Though haunting, the images she captured on her last dive were a testament to her courage and unrelenting passion for exploring the ocean's mysteries. Through her legacy, Luna continued to inspire others to appreciate and protect the very waters that claimed her. October 12, 2023 dawned crisp and clear over Guadalupe Island, Mexico, one of the world's prime destinations for great white shark encounters. Charlotte Lynn, an accomplished marine biologist and avid underwater photographer, boarded the expedition vessel with a mix of excitement and nerves. The journey to this remote island was the culmination of years of studying marine ecosystems. This trip was not just another adventure, but a professional milestone for Charlotte. She had planned to document the behavior of great white sharks in their natural habitat, hoping her work would inspire greater appreciation for these misunderstood creatures. Charlotte's fascination with the ocean began during her childhood in coastal Taiwan. Growing up near the water, she spent hours collecting seashells and observing tide pools. This passion led her to pursue marine biology, and over the years she gained recognition for her groundbreaking research on oceanic predators. At 32, Charlotte was no stranger to risk. She had dived in some of the world's most dangerous waters, capturing awe-inspiring images of creatures most people feared. However, cage diving with great whites presented unique challenges, and she meticulously prepared for the experience. The vessel reached its destination after a 3-hour journey from the mainland. The crew briefed the divers on safety procedures, emphasizing the importance of remaining calm inside the reinforced cages. Charlotte listened attentively, her camera gear ready for action. She suited up, her wetsuit snug against the brisk ocean air, and descended into the steel cage. The visibility was extraordinary as the first rays of sunlight pierced the water, and the shadows of circling sharks loomed in the distance. Charlotte began photographing the majestic creatures, marveling at their size and grace. Her lens captured intricate details of the sharks' powerful movements, their sleek bodies gliding effortlessly through the water. Lost in her work, she did not notice the subtle malfunction in the cage's latch. A slight bump from an approaching shark caused the gate to shift, leaving a gap wide enough for trouble. As Charlotte adjusted her position for a better angle, she unknowingly leaned against the compromised latch. In a terrifying moment, She slipped through the gap, her body propelled into the open water. Fellow divers, still within their cages, watched in horror as Charlotte struggled to regain her footing. Her camera, now forgotten, drifted into the depths. The disturbance caught the attention of a nearby great white, a massive specimen with scars across its dorsal fin. It began its approach, initially slow and deliberate, assessing the unexpected presence in its territory. Panic set in as Charlotte frantically swam toward the cage, trying to pull herself back to safety. Her movements, however, only heightened the shark's curiosity. With terrifying speed, the predator closed the distance, its powerful tail propelling it forward. The first strike was sudden and brutal. The shark's serrated teeth clamped onto Charlotte's torso, puncturing deep wounds and releasing a cloud of blood into the water. She screamed, her voice muffled by the ocean as she clawed at the cage bars. Divers above yelled and waved to alert the crew, but the scene below unfolded too quickly for intervention. Desperate, Charlotte managed to grip the cage's edge, attempting to pull herself back inside, but the shark, undeterred, returned for a second attack. It struck with precision, its immense jaws tearing her away from the safety of the bars. As the shark dragged her into the depths, the water churned with red and her body disappeared. The crew on the surface scrambled into action, but their efforts were futile. The tragic moment, captured on video by a fellow diver's GoPro, would soon ignite debates about the safety of cage diving practices and the inherent risks of observing apex predators in their natural habitats. Guadalupe Island's serene waters had become a chilling reminder of nature's raw power. The aftermath of Charlotte Lynn's tragic encounter with the great white shark left an indelible mark on all those involved and the wider marine community. The divers who had witnessed the horrifying scene remained in shock. Their dive was cut short as they surfaced to report the incident. The vessel's crew quickly alerted authorities, detailing the catastrophic events that had unfolded in mere moments. Rescue teams scoured the waters for hours, but their efforts only yielded fragments of Charlotte's diving gear and her camera, which floated eerily on the surface, a silent witness to her final moments. Charlotte's body was never recovered. The video evidence confirmed that the great white's second strike had been fatal, severing her from the cage and dragging her into the abyss, leaving nothing behind except a haunting cloud of blood. The divers and crew aboard the expedition vessel returned to shore with heavy hearts, burdened by the weight of the tragedy. Initially shared with authorities for investigation purposes, the video footage quickly spread across media platforms. Public reactions were mixed. Conservationists mourned the loss of a dedicated marine biologist whose passion for ocean preservation had inspired many, while others questioned the safety standards of such high-risk expeditions. Discussions erupted over the potential risks involved in cage diving and whether thrill-seeking tourism was ethical when it endangered both human and animal lives. Charlotte's family, devastated by her loss, found some solace in the knowledge that she had died pursuing what she loved most. Her parents released a heartfelt statement emphasizing her lifelong dedication to understanding and protecting marine life. They hoped her death would lead to stricter safety protocols for future expeditions and greater respect for wildlife's unpredictable nature. Experts and marine organizations echoed these sentiments, calling for improved cage designs and better emergency response plans. The diving company responsible for the expedition faced intense scrutiny. Investigations revealed that the cage's latch had not been properly secured, a detail that likely contributed to Charlotte's fatal accident. The company suspended its operations indefinitely, pledging to implement stricter safety measures and provide better training for its staff. Charlotte's work as a marine biologist symbolized her unwavering passion. Her photographs and research were featured in exhibits and publications worldwide, showcasing the beauty of aquatic ecosystems and the need to protect them. Colleagues and friends organized a memorial dive at one of her favorite locations, where they honored her legacy by continuing her mission to raise awareness about the delicate balance between humans and nature. The recovered footage from her camera offered a poignant glimpse into her final hours. The images captured the grace of the great whites and the vibrant marine environment she had sought to document. The haunting sequence of events was a stark reminder of the inherent risks of observing apex predators in their natural habitat. These images sparked a global conversation about respecting wildlife and the ethical boundaries of human interaction with nature. Charlotte's death was a profound loss, but her work inspired a renewed commitment to marine conservation. Her story underscored the power and unpredictability of the ocean, urging humanity to approach it with both awe and caution. The waters of Guadalupe Island, once a place of wonder for her, became a lasting testament to her courage and dedication. On May 28, 2024, Mateo Delgado prepared for his last fishing expedition along Florida's Gulf Coast. Mateo, a skilled spearfisherman, had spent much of his life navigating the waters off the coastline of Clearwater. Born and raised in Miami, he was known for his deep respect for the ocean and its unpredictable nature. Mateo had begun spearfishing in his teenage years and quickly developed a reputation for his ability to bring in impressive catches. On this particular morning, the Gulf Coast was calm, with barely a ripple on the surface. Mateo had set out early, his small boat cutting smoothly across the water. He had his usual gear, a spear gun, a dive knife, and a heavy-duty wetsuit. The waters in this region were murky, particularly after recent rains had stirred up sediment. Despite the reduced visibility, Mateo felt confident. He was accustomed to the challenges of these waters and had successfully fished here countless times. Mateo had chosen a popular spot near an artificial reef that attracted various fish species. After anchoring his boat, he slipped into the water, letting the Gulf's warm embrace surround him. He descended slowly, his spear gun held firmly in his hands, scanning the environment for movement. Within minutes, he spotted a school of snapper darting through the reef structure. His aim was precise, and he secured his first catch quickly. As the morning progressed, Mateo's catch grew, the fish tied to a buoy he had anchored nearby. He knew the potential dangers of sharks drawn to the scent of blood in the water, but he had never encountered one in this area. However, the waters held an ominous silence that day. Unbeknownst to Mateo, a bull shark had begun circling the area. Bull sharks are known for their aggressive tendencies and ability to thrive in murky waters, making them one of the most feared predators in coastal regions. The shark, drawn by the scent of Mateo's catch, crept closer, its movements calculated and deliberate. The shark struck without warning as Mateo prepared to ascend for a break. It rammed into his side with immense force, knocking the spear gun from his hands and spinning him. Disoriented, Mateo turned to see the shark looming in the hazy water. Its powerful tail flicked as it positioned itself for another attack. Mateo's training kicked in. He reached for his dive knife, gripping it tightly as the shark closed the distance. The next strike was brutal, the shark's serrated teeth tearing into his thigh, ripping through muscle and sinew. Mateo's vision blurred with pain, but he managed to stab at the shark's gills. The shark recoiled briefly, releasing him and retreating a short distance. Blood billowed around Mateo, clouding the already murky water. He struggled to swim toward his boat, his leg useless and the pain excruciating. Each stroke felt heavier than the last as he fought to stay conscious. Mateo glanced behind him and saw the dark shape of the shark circling again. He pushed forward with every ounce of strength, desperate to reach the ladder on the boat's side. Despite his efforts, the shark returned, its predatory instincts heightened by the trail of blood. It lunged once more, its jaws clamping down on Mateo's chest. The force was overwhelming, dragging him down into the depths. In the silence of the sea, Mateo's desperate struggle faded. The peaceful morning along Florida's Gulf Coast was a tragic nightmare. When Mateo Delgado vanished into the murky depths, the waters around his boat were eerily still. Bloodstains swirled on the surface, a grim reminder of the violent struggle that had just unfolded. Hours passed with no sign of Mateo, leaving his loved ones and the local community to grapple with the horrifying reality of his disappearance. When another fisherman found Mateo's boat drifting later that afternoon, its state told a chilling story. His spear gun lay discarded on the deck, tangled in a fishing line. The buoy that once held his catch was empty, its line frayed and bitten. The diver's absence raised immediate concern. The Coast Guard was alerted, and a search operation began within the hour. As rescue boats scoured the area, divers explored the depths near Mateo's last known location. All they recovered were fragments of his shredded wetsuit and punctured dive gear, bearing the unmistakable marks of a shark attack. The grim discovery confirmed his family's worst fears and the local fishing community. There would be no miraculous survival story. Mateo's tragic death sent shockwaves through the tight-knit fishing and diving circles of Florida. Those who knew him spoke of his skill, caution, and deep respect for the ocean. To many, his loss was a stark reminder that even the most experienced individuals are not immune to nature's unpredictability. Bull sharks, often misunderstood predators, were now seen in a harsher light by the community. The aftermath extended beyond the emotional toll. Mateo's family faced the daunting process of grieving a loved one lost under such violent circumstances. His parents, who had always supported his passion for the ocean, now struggled with sorrow and regret. They questioned whether more precautions could have been taken to prevent the tragedy. Mateo's younger brother, inspired by his siblings' love for the sea, vowed to continue his legacy with a renewed emphasis on safety. Local authorities and marine biologists responded to the incident by emphasizing the importance of safe practices while diving or spearfishing. Public workshops were organized to educate the community about avoiding shark encounters, especially in waters that attract large predators like bull sharks. The emphasis was on the proper disposal of fish remains, awareness of shark behavior, and the need for divers to always work in pairs. The incident also reignited debates about human activities in predator-dense areas. Environmentalists used Mateo's story to advocate for better coexistence strategies between humans and marine life. They stressed the importance of respecting sharks' natural habitats and reducing behaviors that could attract them to areas frequented by people. Mateo's death was not in vain, spurring necessary conversations about safety and conservation. Though Mateo's life ended in the waters he loved so much, his legacy lived on through these efforts. Friends and family came together to honor his memory, organizing annual ocean safety awareness events in his name. These gatherings served as both a tribute to Mateo and a reminder of the delicate balance between human ambition and nature's raw power. His story, marked by courage and tragedy, left a lasting impact on all who heard it. Emma Harris, a nature enthusiast and passionate wildlife observer, began her day early on July 10, 2023. A resident of a quaint coastal town near Cape Cod, she had always been drawn to the ocean. Her love for marine life started in childhood, inspired by her father's tales of sea adventures. Now 32, Emma was a seasoned kayaker who frequently ventured into the waters to capture the natural beauty of seals, dolphins, and other marine creatures with her camera. The skies were clear that morning, and the gentle waves promised a perfect day for her exploration. Emma packed her gear meticulously, ensuring her kayak was well equipped. She wore her trusty wetsuit and a bright yellow life jacket for visibility, a practice she followed religiously. Her favorite camera, one she had used to document countless ocean journeys, was secured in a waterproof case. As the sun rose, she launched her kayak from a quiet beach, paddling with the rhythmic ease that came from years of experience. She aimed to observe a colony of seals known to frequent the waters near Monomoy Island, a location she had visited several times before. The seals were her favorite subjects to photograph. She found their playful movements and curious expressions endlessly fascinating. As she approached the area that morning, she spotted several seals basking on nearby rocks while others swam gracefully. Emma slowed her paddling to avoid startling them, marveling at their lively interactions. She drifted closer, her camera clicking away to capture their charm. The water was calm, but the scene changed suddenly. Emma noticed the seals behaving unusually, their playful demeanor giving way to a panicked retreat. They disappeared beneath the surface, leaving ripples in their wake. The abrupt stillness was unsettling. She paused, scanning the water, her heart beginning to race. A massive white shark breached the surface just feet from her kayak without warning. The sheer force of its emergence violently rocked the small vessel. Emma was thrown into the cold, churning water. Panicked, she gasped for air, struggling to stay afloat as her overturned kayak bobbed nearby. Emma tried desperately to climb back onto the kayak, but the predator struck again. The shark rammed the kayak, pushing it farther away. In her attempt to regain stability, Emma felt a sudden excruciating pain as the shark's powerful jaws clamped down on her shoulder. The impact dragged her beneath the surface, her cries muffled by the water. From the shore, a few distant witnesses could only watch in horror, their vantage point too far to intervene. The tranquil waters had turned into chaos, the once blue ocean now streaked red. Moments later, the shark disappeared into the depths, leaving only fragments of the kayak and a piece of Emma's torn wetsuit. Her struggle ended as the predator retreated into the vastness of the ocean. Emma's absence was immediate and final. The area grew silent again, save for the lapping of waves against the wreckage. The shoreline witnesses alerted local authorities, who quickly mobilized search efforts. However, it was clear to everyone present that the sea had claimed another life. The aftermath of Emma's tragic encounter with the great white shark rippled through her small coastal town and beyond. News of her death spread quickly, leaving the community in shock. Emma was a beloved figure known for her passion for marine life and dedication to preserving nature's beauty. Her absence was deeply felt, especially by her family and friends, who were left grappling with the sudden loss. Local authorities searched the area extensively, recovering fragments of Emma's kayak and torn wetsuit. These haunting remnants of her final moments painted a grim picture of the attack, offering little solace to those who mourned her. Marine biologists who examined the scene concluded that the shark had likely mistaken Emma's movements for prey, a tragic consequence of venturing into its natural hunting ground. The incident sparked immediate calls for change. Residents of the Cape Cod area demanded stricter measures to monitor shark activity in popular waters. Many questioned whether more could have been done to prevent such a tragedy. Experts pointed out the increasing presence of great white sharks in the region due to a growing seal population, which served as their primary food source. Signs warning of shark activity were already in place, but Emma's death underscored the need for greater public awareness. Community members rallied to honor Emma's memory, organizing a vigil on the beach where she had often launched her kayak. Candles flickered in the evening breeze as friends shared stories of her kindness, adventurous spirit, and love for the ocean. Her loss was a painful reminder of nature's unpredictable power and the risks associated with exploring it. Emma's family worked with local organizations in the following weeks to promote safer practices for those venturing into shark-prone waters. They advocated for increased education about marine wildlife and stronger regulations to protect both humans and animals. Emma's camera, found floating near the site of the attack, became a symbol of her passion. Its recovered images were later used to promote marine conservation, turning her tragedy into a powerful message. Though Emma's life was tragically cut short, her legacy lived on. Her story served as both a cautionary tale and an inspiration, reminding others to respect the ocean's vast, untamed beauty. On August 15, 2023, Ryan Colson, an experienced surfer with over a decade of expertise, prepared for another thrilling day on the waves. Known for his adventurous spirit and love for the ocean, Ryan was a familiar face among the surfing community on Maui's North Shore. Born and raised in Hawaii, Ryan had spent his childhood mastering the art of surfing, turning it into a lifelong passion. The waves were pristine this morning, towering at just the right height to challenge even the most skilled surfers. Ryan arrived at the beach early, his surfboard tucked under his arm and his mind set on catching the perfect wave. His friends often joked about his daring nature, but Ryan always balanced his thrill-seeking with respect for the ocean. That day, the water shimmered under the morning sun, drawing surfers from around to the popular spot known as Pehi, or Jaws, famous for its powerful waves. As the day progressed, Ryan successfully rode several waves, his confidence growing with each one. Around noon, the tide shifted, creating conditions ideal for advanced surfers. Ryan paddled farther, seeking a spot to ride an even larger wave. The ocean seemed calm, but beneath the surface, danger lurked. Unbeknownst to Ryan, he had entered an area frequently visited by tiger sharks during their peak hunting hours. An eerie stillness settled over the water as Ryan paddled back out after riding a near-perfect wave. Fellow surfers scattered across the waves noticed a sudden disappearance of fish and subtle ripples breaking the surface. Ryan, focused on the horizon, didn't immediately sense the presence of the 12-foot tiger shark circling below him. The shark surged upward without warning, hitting Ryan's board with incredible force. The attack was swift and brutal. The shark's powerful jaws clamped onto Ryan's leg, dragging him underwater as he fought to free himself. The shark's serrated teeth tore through muscle and bone, causing catastrophic injuries to his leg. Ryan surfaced briefly, screaming in agony as the water around him turned crimson. Desperately, he punched the shark's snout, a move surfers are taught might deter an attack. The shark released him momentarily, only to bite down again, severing his leg entirely. Blood gushed from the wound as Ryan's body went limp, his strength fading rapidly. Fellow surfers, alerted by his screams, paddled toward him, but the ferocious thrashing of the shark made it impossible to get close. Ryan's friends shouted and splashed the water to scare the predator away, their hearts pounding with fear and desperation. Finally, the shark retreated, leaving Ryan floating unconscious in the bloody water. His friends pulled him onto a surfboard and paddled frantically toward shore, but the distance and severity of his injuries made their efforts futile. Ryan succumbed to his injuries before they could reach land. The horrifying scene left the surfers shaken and helpless as they realized the full scope of the tragedy. The tragedy of Ryan's death sent shockwaves through the surfing community and beyond. His friends, who had valiantly tried to save him, returned to shore emotionally shattered, unable to process the horrifying events they had just witnessed. The beach was soon crowded with first responders and onlookers, drawn by the news of a fatal shark attack. Word spread rapidly, and by the end of the day, Ryan's story had made headlines nationwide. Ryan's family, heartbroken by the loss, struggled to come to terms with the sudden and violent nature of his death. They described him as a man who lived fully and found joy and purpose in the waves. For them, the ocean, which had always been a source of peace for Ryan, had now become a symbol of unimaginable grief. Local authorities immediately launched an investigation to understand the attack's circumstances better. Marine biologists pointed out that tiger sharks frequent these waters, especially during the summer when their hunting activity increases. They suggested that the attack may have been provoked by the shark mistaking Ryan for prey due to the motion of his paddling. The incident reignited debates about the risks of ocean sports and the measures needed to ensure safety. Some called for stricter regulations on surfing during peak shark activity hours, while others emphasized the importance of educating surfers about shark behavior and safety protocols. Despite these discussions, many in the surfing community resisted imposing restrictions, arguing that the ocean's inherent risks were a part of its allure. In the following weeks, a memorial was held at the beach where Ryan had spent so much of his life. Surfers gathered to honor him, forming a floating circle in the water, their boards touching as they shared memories of their friend. Ryan's death became a sobering reminder of the power and unpredictability of the ocean. While his loss left a void in the hearts of those who knew him, Ryan's legacy lived on through the community's efforts to promote awareness and safety. The beach that had once been a place of joy for Ryan became a place of reflection, where his life and love for the waves would never be forgotten. On the evening of November 6, 2023, Michael Reed, a 32-year-old avid traveler, found himself drawn to the cool waters of Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. He visited Bondi Beach often because of its beautiful coastline and popular surf spots. Michael was an experienced swimmer, enjoying the serenity of the ocean, especially in the quiet hours just before sunset when the beach was less crowded. He had spent the day exploring the city, but now he was eager to swim in the ocean, looking forward to the calmness the water brought him. Bondi Beach had recently been the subject of tiger shark sightings, and lifeguards had posted warnings. However, Michael, confident in his swimming abilities and trusting the water's allure, ignored the caution signs. He waded into the water, feeling the cool rush of the sea surrounding him. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue across the horizon, creating a peaceful atmosphere. Michael swam further out into the deeper waters, lost in the rhythm of his strokes as the fading light blurred the line between the sea and the sky. As he swam further from the shore, something changed. A sudden powerful tug on his right leg jolted him from his peaceful swim. The force was immense, and for a brief moment Michael struggled to comprehend what was happening. He felt an excruciating pain as the shark's jaws clamped down on his leg. The pressure was like nothing he had ever experienced, and the pain shot through him, breaking bones in his leg. Michael tried to scream, but the water swallowed his voice. Panic surged as he realized he was caught in the shark's grip and pulled under the water. The immense power of the shark dragged him deeper, and the pain became unbearable. He thrashed, trying desperately to escape the tightening grip. His screams echoed in his mind as the shark violently shook him, tearing into his flesh. Michael's body was no match for the sheer strength of the predator. The darkness of the water surrounded him as he struggled against the shark's attack. Each attempt to free himself was met with the shark's relentless assault, pulling him further into the depths. Lifeguards on the beach saw the commotion in the water, They acted quickly, rushing toward Michael to help, but Michael was already out of sight when they reached the area where he had been. The shark had dragged him into the depths, and the lifeguards could do nothing but try to search the area for any sign of him. The horrifying aftermath of the attack unfolded shortly after. Michael's dismembered torso was found washed up on the shore. The lifeguards and other responders could not save him in time. The sight was gruesome, and those who had been on the beach witnessing the tragic events were left in shock. Onlookers saw the remains, which painted a stark and brutal picture of nature's raw power. The shark attack had been swift, leaving Michael with no chance to escape its grasp. The lifeguards' efforts to reach him were futile, as the shark had already claimed his life. This tragic incident would remind locals and tourists of the dangers lurking in the waters, even in peaceful and familiar places. The attack was a sad end to Michael's life, a stark contrast to the serenity he had sought when entering the water that evening. The aftermath of the shark attack left the beach community shaken. Michael's tragic death served as a haunting reminder of the unpredictable dangers lurking beneath the ocean's surface. The beach, once filled with visitors enjoying the warmth of the sunset, was now quiet and sad. The lifeguards who had rushed to the water were left helpless, knowing they couldn't reach Michael in time. Their swift actions were not enough to save him from the powerful predator. Authorities quickly responded to the tragic scene, and a search was initiated to recover Michael's remains. The area around Bondi Beach was cleared for investigation, and the public was urged to stay out of the water as officials worked to understand the circumstances surrounding the attack. The gruesome sight of Michael's torso washed ashore brought a wave of fear and disbelief to the community. The beach, known for its beauty and lively atmosphere, now stood as a place of mourning and reflection. Local news outlets quickly reported the incident, and the story spread across social media, with many people expressing their shock and condolences. The beachgoers who had witnessed the attack were left traumatized, unable to forget the chilling image of Michael's body being pulled from the water. For them, Bondi Beach was no longer just a relaxing place to visit. It was now associated with a tragic and terrifying event. Experts were quick to point out that shark attacks, while rare, are more likely when sharks are drawn to areas where food is abundant. In this case, the shark's behavior was likely influenced by the presence of seals and other marine life. The attack occurred in waters with shark sightings, but the sharks were usually not a threat unless provoked or attracted by food. The attack sparked debates about the safety of swimming and surfing in shark-prone areas. There were calls for increased shark monitoring in popular beach locations, with many questioning whether enough was being done to protect swimmers and surfers. Local authorities promised to review the safety measures at Bondi Beach, including shark nets and warning systems, to prevent future tragedies. As the community mourned, Michael's death remained a sobering reminder of the dangers present in the natural world and the unpredictable threats that can arise, even in familiar places.